Hi everyone, I'm Danielle and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to be doing an in-depth review all about my recent trip to Blackpool Pleasure Beach. I am someone who has been going to Blackpool and the Pleasure Beach since before I could even walk, so I know the Pleasure Beach quite well. It's like a second home to me. If you guys actually want to see the vlog that I did from my most recent trip to the Pleasure Beach, the link to it will be in the description box down below, so you guys can go and check it out if you want to. But for now, let's just get started. So I wrote some notes here on my phone. Today's in-depth review is going to be split into about 6 different parts. So really quickly, to start off this video, I wanted to talk about the surrounding areas of the Pleasure Beach. When I say surrounding areas, I'm talking about buildings like Ripley's Believe It or Not, and all of that kind of strip of buildings. And in recent years, those areas just were looking very, very down. They were looking like they needed a bit of love, a bit of TLC, a bit of care. I really did have an amazing first impression driving up to the Pleasure Beach, looking at the surrounding areas, and it was just great to see that all of the areas have had some love. A lot of the buildings have been painted in really, really lovely colours, which just gives off this really nice vibe when you're on your way to the Pleasure Beach, or you're looking at the Pleasure Beach driving past it, things like that. The whole surrounding area of the Pleasure Beach was looking really clean and tidy. Not all of the buildings have had a new paint job and all of this sort of stuff, so it obviously is a work in progress, but I'm really happy with the work that they've done so far. So we're going to move on to the overall look of the Pleasure Beach, and what I mean by the look of the Pleasure Beach is inside. Did it look clean? Did it look tidy? Did it look like things were being looked after? All of that sort of stuff. So I actually said this in my vlog, and it was one of the first things that I noticed walking into the Pleasure Beach, and that was that everything had obviously just had a nice lick of paint. And there was definitely, you know, in some areas of the park you could still actually smell fresh paint still. So obviously they've been doing a lot of work whilst it's been closed over the winter period, freshening up some of the rides and the buildings and whatnot. And obviously, even though the park is now open for the 2018 season, this is obviously something that they're still continuing to do. Things seemed like they really were being looked after and cared for. I just want to say as well that over the recent years, they've slowly been putting in lovely little areas of grass, lovely little structures that really add a great feeling and a nice atmosphere to the park. Another thing I mentioned in the vlog was things were very, very clean. After maybe a few years at the park where things were maybe not looking as good as they could be, it was really nice to see that the Pleasure Beach team have been working really, really hard to get things up to standard. I really have 2 very minor negatives to say about the look of the Pleasure Beach. One of them would be, do you guys remember the Space Invader? This big building, and it would have Space Invader splattered across the front, and it would have the little man in the little rocket or spaceship or whatever it was, looking down upon everyone kind of walking past the attraction. Well, Space Invader obviously isn't there anymore, as a lot of you guys will know, but unfortunately the facade for it is still there. When you go and have a peek inside the old Space Invader building, it is a buffet at the moment. My issue is they obviously got rid of Space Invader. They replaced Beaver Creek with Nickelodeon Land. So because Space Invader sits right next to the kids area, Nickelodeon Land, what Pleasure Beach have actually done, instead of do actual work to the Space Invader building, the old kind of rock work, as you might want to call it, is still there from Space Invader. But all they've done is slap this little wall that pretty much goes along the front of Space Invader in like a wavy fashion. And honestly, I'm not really keen on that. Although it kind of helps the old Space Invader building blend in with the Nickelodeon Land area a lot better, I just really think that the Pleasure Beach should do something to the actual structure and the building itself and the facade. When you look inside for the buffet, it looks really nice. And then you look up and you see, like, to me, it still screams Space Invader, honestly. So I just personally wish that they would just do something with the facade, change it up a bit more other than slapping this Nickelodeon swirly wall thing across the front of it. I really do hope that they are planning to do a little bit more with this old Space Invader building as the years go on. Another very, very tiny minor fault, I guess you could say, that I had with the look of the Pleasure Beach is the only ride that I could see that really, really needed some love was the river caves. The outside, the facade, when you look at the ride and you're not inside on the ride, it looks nice. It looks like a very, very lovely kids ride. But once you go on the ride itself, it is very clear that it is an old ride, and obviously the river caves is a very old ride, and I understand that. But I really do feel like it needs a bit of love, a bit of attention. I saw, I think it was an alligator, or it was an animal of some description with half of its head missing. And yeah, that's gonna frighten some kids a little bit maybe. I would really wish that they would do just a little bit of extra work inside of the river caves. I really hope that that is also something that they have planned for the near future, because I'd love to see the river caves stay at the park. It's a very, very classic attraction. So we're moving on to section 3 now, and this is going to be the ride operations at the Pleasure Beach. Now, I don't know if I've mentioned this in the video, I don't think I have so far, but I went for 2 days and I only filmed on one day, which is why you guys only got one vlog, because the other day I just kind of wanted to really take in the atmosphere and not have to worry about filming. But I was there for 2 days, and on both of those 2 days it was a very, very quiet time. So I feel like I can't comment too much on operations because it wasn't busy and the rides weren't running as they would be in, for example, the peak of summer. But what I will say about the ride operations is we're often getting seated, getting all sorted, and then we were often left waiting for the rides to fill up. Staff were really good at, you know, making sure that everyone was seated and they were checking the restraints. Often they would double check the restraints as well. It's nice to see that they are kind of double checking restraints. And once the cars were full enough, they were really good at sending them out as well and as quickly as they could do, considering it was a quiet day. I'm going to talk a little bit about ride effects as well in this section. So there were 2 rides that I spotted that some of the effects weren't working, and that was Valhalla and the Ghost Train. So on the first day, on the Tuesday when we went to the Pleasure Beach, we went on the Ghost Train. It was really early in the day, and we noticed that one effect out of all of the effects on the Ghost Train was not working. So really good, only one effect that wasn't working. That's fine by me, I'm not complaining. And actually when we went on the Thursday and we did the Ghost Train again, that effect was up and running, so I can't really complain there. Unfortunately with Valhalla, I love Valhalla. I have expressed my love for this water ride many, many times, but unfortunately I spotted a few effects that weren't working, and we all know if you've been on Valhalla how effect heavy it is. There's rises and falls in temperature, there's fire effects, there's wind effects, strobe lighting, all of that sort of stuff. So there's a lot going on, so I can kind of forgive, you know, effects not working all the time. And in my opinion, when you go and you ride Valhalla, you either have this fantastic experience where everything is working and it's looking in really good shape, or you have a kind of ride on Valhalla where some of the effects aren't working and you don't have that like wow impact as what you would as if it was working properly. So the Ring of Fire wasn't on, and that's my favourite effect. And this was on both days that we were there, that the Ring of Fire was not working. Bit of a downer. A few of the other smaller fire effects weren't working as well. But overall, Valhalla was still running decent. In terms of ride effects, those were the only things that I spotted that weren't working on all of the rides in the park. So that's pretty good. So section number 4 is the staff at the Pleasure Beach. I do not have any negatives about the staff. Every staff member we had a conversation with, whether that be the ride staff who were actually operating the ride and working the rides, whether that be if they were in one of the little stands that served donuts, coffees, hot chocolate, all of that sort of stuff, it didn't matter. I don't have a negative word at all to say about any staff member at the Pleasure Beach. I had a really fantastic experience. They were all very talkative, they were all very pleasant, and they were all extremely professional. So they were asking us like, did you enjoy the ride? I hope you enjoy the ride. Are you having a nice day? That sort of stuff. And it was really, really nice because I've had experiences at the Pleasure Beach where the staff have seemed like they don't want to be there and their attitude kind of a little bit, you know, but it was really great to see that obviously the Pleasure Beach have gotten some really fantastic people for the 2018 season, and I can't praise the staff enough. So moving on to section 5 now, and section 5 is all about the merchandise of the park. I always went to the Pleasure Beach and thought that they could do a lot better with the merch. However, this year for the 2018 season, I was pleasantly surprised by the merchandise that they have on offer. The thing is about the merchandise, there was a wide range of merch, but the merch isn't badly priced either. But I love Blackpool Pleasure Beach's pins. And I said this in a previous video, I can't remember which video it was, but I said that although I love the Pleasure Beach pins, I would love to see more of the retro classic rides get their time in the spotlight. I mean, there's a Big Dipper pin, a Grand National pin, and obviously they're like classic rides, but I mean, I don't believe Ghost Train has a pin at the moment. I don't think that the Wild Mouse did, although the Wild Mouse is retired now. I would still love to see a pin. And the River Caves I don't believe has a pin. I would definitely buy that for sure. And I would love Space Invader to have a pin as well, although it is again a retired ride. However, I did get word from someone who commented on one of my YouTube videos that the Pleasure Beach do apparently have plans to release more pins, which sounds good to me. It's great to also see a lot of Mr. Funshine merch as well. He's slowly creeping back into the park, and I would love to see him be the face of the Pleasure Beach once more someday, but I don't think that's going to happen. But it's really nice to see that the Pleasure Beach haven't forgotten that it was a thing and he ever existed. They've got cushions like this. Yes, I bought a Mr. Funshine cushion, don't judge me. So we've come to section number 6 now, and this is just my overall experience of the park. It was insanely positive, and I feel really positive about Blackpool Pleasure Beach's future. I can't wait to get back to the Pleasure Beach, ride Icon, and see how the Pleasure Beach develops in the future. I would really like to think that when I have children, I can take them to the Pleasure Beach because it's such a lovely park. It was great to see that things have been had a lick of paint, things are being taken care of, and they're just putting a lot of effort and love into the park, and that is just so great to see. I think that's all I've got to say. I don't think I've missed anything out. Like I said, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave it a thumbs up, and if you're new here, make sure to click on that subscribe button as well. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.